Hey, what's happening, gamers? It's K-Wing here, and I thought I'd share my take on today's industry upset with Rayman Legends going multi-platform. And I'll also be playing the Wii U demo so you can see the game in action. So, anyway, in case you didn't know, Rayman Legends is now multi-platform and has been delayed until September this year, which sucks. Already trolls are chanting with delight the death of Nintendo, and Legends is releasing for the other systems, but the port needs to be tweaked just a little bit more so it can play on PS3 and 360. We are told that visual-wise and gameplay-wise, the better experience will still remain for Wii U owners, but that's still a little comfort. Especially with what happened today. I mean, I wasn't expecting that. Rayman Legends on the other consoles will play similar to Rayman Origins, as it can't use the used mechanics and 5-player play, and some of the other features that were just for the Wii U version. So those things will still remain exclusive. As for my thoughts on all this, honestly, it's pretty upsetting, but what can you do? That being said, I was looking forward to playing Rayman Legends this month, but yeah, that's not going to happen. I mean, it's very annoying that Ubisoft would delay a finished game so they can port it near the end of the year for the other systems. If this was really about making more money, Ubisoft would have had this as a timed U exclusive, because from what I hear, Nintendo had an aggressive marketing campaign in the works, but alas, that's not going to work anymore. So everything, Nintendo lost money, Ubisoft lost money with this deal. It's a mess. But at least everybody gets to play the same type of games, so that's good, right? Now, I was unaware of this, but a little while ago I heard from one of my sources that the main reason behind Rayman Legends' fall release is because of Microsoft's doing. Even though the U game is finished, mind you, apparently the Xbox 360's policy for multi-platform games is for them to be released at the same time as their competitors. Up until today, I was unaware of this type of policy that Microsoft had. So basically, in layman terms, what this means is the game can't release for the people that have already pre-ordered it for this month to play it this month, because Microsoft doesn't want other people to play it before it is available for Microsoft's game system. Now, what I find hilarious about all this is the install base for Rayman Origins was much larger on Wii than on 360. Now, in terms of sales, the PS3 did edge out Nintendo a little bit due to the PSN, but the difference in sales wasn't all that much between Wii and PS3. I'm very confident something shady is going on with Ubisoft and Microsoft, but I'm not going to get into the ethics of this business because, well, very few people live by that kind of code of honor these days. It's all about making the almighty dollar, and that's it, folks. So I know what you're thinking. Is this the end of Nintendo? Well, not even close. Remember back when Xbox 360 released, it had a very rocky start. And I remember that because I had to sell those systems when I was working at EB Games, and it was impossible because there was no software. You had that Dead or Alive game, and you had something else, and for up to 2 years the system did not sell. It wasn't until some good games came out that the system started to move out. Also, let's look at the Nintendo 3DS. Remember how fast that thing bounced back after Nintendo made some really tough decisions? The system is doing better than ever. The PS Vita, on the other hand, is nearing a similar fate to PSP Go. Hey, don't shoot the messenger, just look at the system. Having a powerful system is one thing, but you have to have software, and it doesn't. This is a part of the business that Sony always learns the hard way. Sure, Nintendo has hit a lot of bumps in the road over the years, but throughout history, they've always seemed to make a comeback. Either now or later. I'm sure some of you probably aren't aware of this or are too young to remember or weren't even born, but Nintendo had a massive falling out with Square over a deal with Final Fantasy VII going to Sony instead of the N64. The last president of Nintendo had a monster bad attitude over it and handled that situation horribly wrong. Because of the decision he made, many companies saw Nintendo in a way different light, and because of that, they went to Sony. It wasn't until Mr. Iwata stepped in and took over the Game Boy Advance and GameCube that Nintendo started to get its footing back and renew its relationships with scorned third parties. That was a very interesting time, folks, and I remember it as clear as day. That being said, we are moving out of the era of console third-party exclusives, which I've theorized for some time, actually. A statement Ubisoft had today made a lot of sense to me and confirmed my suspicions. All next-gen systems, Wii U, PS4, Xbox 720, and the like, are all gonna pretty much have the same multi-platform games. Because that way, people get to play those games from that system, and you don't have these crazy bickering back and forth. It might solve things, it might not, though each game will definitely make use of that system's unique features and abilities. As for second-party developers for Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, well, those games would remain console exclusives, and there's a lot more second-party devs than you may think. We're living in a day and age now where the market is shrinking big time for third-party developers, and they can't bank their hopes on just one system over another anymore. Look what happened to Atari and THQ. On the other hand, what's going on inside Nintendo's camp does mirror what happened with the N64 and GameCube days a little bit. In more ways than one, Platinum Games is becoming the rare N-Factor 5 of its day, as Retro Studios was for Wii last gen. Nintendo's newest partner is turning all kinds of heads and causing major upsets in the game industry today, because of its Wii U partnership. As some of you may know, Nintendo saved a franchise that Sega was going to let die and co-owns the Bayonetta and other franchises from Platinum Games, meaning these exclusives will remain as such for Nintendo. Nintendo also struck a massive deal with Capcom for the Monster Hunter property until 2015, and Capcom was more than happy to let that happen. Why? Because they made a huge amount of cash going with Nintendo as opposed to their other partners in the past. Monster Hunter on Wii did so much better than all the PSP Monster Hunter games. So they really don't want to experiment with the other consoles. Getting back to Bayonetta 2 though, because of Nintendo's actions last year, Bayonetta 2 is getting a lot more attention from the media and gamers alike than the original game. Trolls are already laughing at the idea of Bayonetta going multi-platform, and while it could, it wouldn't come without any monster casualties. Like with Fatal Frame, Nintendo has part of the trademark pie. So yeah, you have to be careful with that. One thing that puzzles me about all of this, especially the fate of THQ of late, is why did Nintendo sweep in and get all those properties? I really don't know what they were thinking about that deal, especially after Vigil Games went under and was under Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Nintendo easily could have bought the Darksiders franchise, but they didn't. I may be an old school fan of Nintendo, but that's because I grew up with them. But a lot of their company decisions aren't always the best, business-wise, or good for us gamers. Like, they were sitting on the biggest launch lineup since PS2 for the Wii U, and they folded. They pushed things too far. Last thing I heard about Pikmin 3 was sometime in June or September, and Wonderful 101 has no firm set release date until after E3. Or so the grapevine says. At the end of the day, though, hardware means absolutely nothing. It's about the games, and Nintendo hasn't really dazzled me of late. Now on the 3DS front, I'm good. Wii U, not so much. So from now on, Nintendo really needs to stop with this launch window nonsense when they release a system, because frankly, you owners are in another game drought like 3DS owners were when it launched. Yes, big stuff is coming on the horizon, and I know Smash Brothers is going to appear at E3, but they still need to bring their A game right now. Do some announcements about upcoming indie games and the GameCube Virtual Console stuff. People scoff at the VC, but it was a powerful tool on the Wii and 3DS, especially during limited releases like right now. So because of all this stuff, does this mean we're coming to the end of Nintendo? Not by a long shot, folks. Basically what Nintendo is the tale between David and Goliath, and that's how it's been since 2001. Now back in his day, David faced off against a lot of trolls, and even an opponent much stronger than him, but in the end, he triumphed. If you look at it that way, Nintendo is more like the Little Mac of gaming than any other character in existence. You can knock them down, but you can't knock them out. Anyway, gamers, that wraps up my thoughts on the whole Rayman Legends fiasco. I'm spent. I really didn't plan to have a video ready because, well, I'm still bringing stuff over to my condo, and the transition is taking a lot longer than I thought. This place is huge. But anyway, thanks so much for watching my video, and hopefully Ubisoft won't remove this Legends video like they did my Legends impression video after E3. Well, anyway, have an awesome rest of your day, folks, and until we meet again, gamers, God bless and happy gaming.